Hello everyone, how's it going? Now I really want you to get absorbed by the challenge of overcoming OCD. You might think, what is this guy talking about? How can I get absorbed by something that's incredibly debilitating, that's very dysfunctioning, that affects daily life, that affects 24/7? I know, I've been there, I get that, okay? But a big shift for me on my journey was seeing this as a huge challenge for me, and how could I push myself? How could I push my limits? How could I push the boundaries in order to overcome this, in order to recover from OCD? I actually got excited by that challenge. Now, of course, when I was triggered, when I was going through a real rough time, when I was going through a setback and a relapse, the last thing I was thinking about was, oh, this challenge is great, yay. No, of course not. I went down the victimizing mode and the victimizing trap, going, why me, why me, why me, this is terrible, I hate this, why me? Of course, I know how that feels. However, when I took a step back and rode the feelings out, like Claire Weeks says, wear it like an uncomfortable coat, float past with all the sensations, let time pass, floating, okay? Once I took a step back and let that happen anyway, and just continue with my life structure, continue doing things that I would do regardless of whether I was stuck or not, continue getting absorbed by hobbies and interests, then I started to, as that started to fade, those symptoms, as I kept on putting in recovery work, the absorption of the challenge again started to come back, and that's what will happen. Okay, so you've got to try and remain hopeful. It's very difficult, and I try and give motivation to people on calls, and it is very difficult because I know you don't feel motivated. In my journey, I felt so demotivated. I felt completely deflated, defeated. I felt completely beat down by OCD. Okay, so obviously as coaches here, we're here to motivate you, but don't wait until you feel motivation, okay? Because ultimately you've got to do it anyway, right? But take a step back and think, right, if I could just get absorbed by this challenge, if I can see this as a great opportunity for me to overcome probably the biggest problem I'm ever going to face in my life, okay, now if I can overcome that, then what else can I overcome? Get excited by that, get gripped by that, okay? Now, OCD has been the biggest challenge of my life by far. Okay, I'm not saying it will be the biggest challenge ever, but in likelihood, it most likely will be, right? I can't imagine anything's much, I'm obviously going to have health scares and physical health problems and just life problems. Of course, there'll be loads of problems in my life, and there will be, and there will remain, my life will remain full of problems because everyone's life has problems. However, when you've dealt with something as relentless and as brutal, if you wish, as OCD, and other problems do seem quite trivial, but you do build that robust recovery, you build that sort of robust mindset, and you're training your brain like a muscle just to deal with problems in front of you head on, pushing the boundaries. Let's go for it. Okay, no whining, no complaining, no victimizing, no saying, oh, why me? Why is this so difficult? No catastrophizing, no demanding. You look at what's in your control, you look at your perception. How am I viewing this? How am I fueling this problem? What can I do about this? What's in my control? What's out of my control? What can I change? What can't I change? And let's roll with it. Let's make a decision and roll with it. But ultimately, you build that frustration tolerance as well, because you get very, very good at sitting with discomfort, at sitting with frustration, because anybody telling you that this journey is a breeze, that you can just recover in a month and be anxiety free, and it's a walk in the park, and you don't have to put that much work in. Yeah, you might have a bit of anxiety here and there, but it's fine. No, when you are truly recovered from OCD, when I look back now and I see the discomfort that I felt, I see the anxiety, the 24/7, just the constant the guilt, you've done this, you can't be let off the hook, the constant pull to do compulsions, the urges, the intrusive thoughts, the intrusive images, the intrusive names, the intrusive just sort of things getting stuck in my brain, just on that loop, and just that constant self-punishing and that self-neglect and life feeling totally meaningless. And I've been around every block of every theme. So when you're in the midst of that, when you're stuck in that OCD cycle, when you start coming out the other end, you're like, wow, I went through so much discomfort. And you're going to go through so much hopelessness as well. You're going to go through so much demotivation, right? You're going to feel completely deflated at times, okay? So you've got to think, how can I use this situation that I'm in to overcome this problem? What can I do about it? What steps can I start taking today? Whether that's life structure, whether that's the exposure that you've been putting off, whether it's the books on the reading list that you've been putting off, whether it's just the reluctancy to dispute, whether it's just the utter refusal to push your frustration tolerance and just sort of stay in the comfort trap and the safety trap, but then ultimately remain stuck. Think what more you could be doing, okay? Get absorbed by the challenging of overcoming OCD. You hear how passionate I am about this, because I cannot highlight enough and stress enough how much recovery is worth it, okay? There is no chronic guilt. There is no chronic anxiety. You are not bombarded by intrusive thoughts all day long. The odd thought comes in and it goes again. Same as somebody about OCD. There is no just, what does that mean about me? Oh shit, what if that gets stuck? Oh my God, I'm stuck forever. Oh my God. You know how this feels when it's just the bombardment of different fears and different thoughts and just different sensations and different symptoms, just the waxing and waning. That is no more, okay? I'm sober from that. Now, I have to be aware. I have to be aware of how I could easily slip back into that cycle. It's unlikely, yes, but I have OCD. I have an OCD brain. I have an OCD tendency in the brain that if I started going back to my old rigid black and white thinking, then of course I'm going to go back and OCD is going to have the upper hand again. It's going to call the shots to my life. If I go back to the compulsions, then of course OCD will have the upper hand, and then it will start getting into that vicious cycle, and I'll find it very hard to get out of again. Because remember, those compulsions were fueling the cycle. Those irrational beliefs I was holding, the inflexible, rigid thinking that I was holding, the catastrophizing, the self-downing, the global rating, the anger, all those beliefs, the anger-creating beliefs that I was holding, that was fueling it. Okay, so if I started going back to that, I'm going to leave the door wide open for a big setback and a big relapse. Okay, I'll give you an example. So if I held the belief that, what belief could I hold that would just make the door wide open? If I held the belief that, Sam, you must not die at 23. So I'm 23, and if I held the belief that I must not die at 23, I must live till 70. I must not die at a young age. I cannot suffer. I cannot possibly get ill. I can tell you, within a day, if I held on to that belief very rigidly, within a day, OCD would find something and it would latch to a symptom in my body and go, Sam, you're going to be dead next week, mate. You're going to be gone because you've got this symptom, you've got this headache, you've got this itch in your arm, which could be cancerous. You've got this and that. You've had this headache for this long. You've had this cough. You've got this symptom in the brain. You've got this itch or this ache in your leg, and that could be this and that could be that. You're forgetting this. And, it's going to latch to something. Don't underestimate the mimic skills of OCD. OCD is the best con artist that's ever existed on this planet. It can con you in anything. It can be like, nope, you're going to be dead tomorrow. And then down the Googling rabbit hole I would go, trying to find the answers, typing, Googling, scrolling, and then go down that rabbit hole. And that's because it takes orders from the belief that I'm holding there. Right? If I held the belief that if Sam did wrong, that he should be punished for the rest of his life, that he'd be the worst scumbag, the most evil, horrible, horrendous person ever to exist, and he can't ever be let off the hook, I can almost guarantee you within 10 minutes, OCD will be scanning the past like it used to be with real event false memory. Boom. You've done this thing. You've done this immoral thing. You've done this wrong thing. You've done this bad thing. You've done this illegal thing. You are sentenced to a lifetime of guilt. You are entitled to a lifetime of punishment. Okay, you can't be let off the hook ever. You are guilty for the rest of your life. Anything that you do to feel happy, to enjoy yourself, to distract yourself, no. You are sentenced to that forever. And that would take that order from the belief that I'm holding, that I must not have done wrong, and I am the worst person ever, and it's terrible and awful if I have done wrong. And you can tell OCD takes that order, goes, right, he believes this, therefore, let's scan for something that goes against that belief, boom, detects a threat, sounds the alarm, and then you're triggered, and then you're anxious, then you're depressed, and then you're guilty, and then you're panicked, and so on. Okay? You can see how it's latching here. Okay, this is why we bang the belief drum so often. Change beliefs, look at perspectives, really anchor in to your perspectives and your rational beliefs you're holding, and apply gratitude as yes, but look where you're going wrong. Really jump in and think, right, what am I holding here? What am I telling myself? And I often advise people to really imagine your worst case scenario. Really imagine it. Rational emotive imagery, or what Alice calls it. Really imagine it. and embrace all the feelings of shame, guilt, anxiety, panic, whatever you want to, however you're going to feel in your worst case. And what are you telling yourself in that moment that's fueling that? What are you telling yourself? What is your statements like that you are repeating to yourself over and over again? How are your beliefs looking? How are you viewing this? What's your perception? What's your judgment? What's your opinion on this? Right? And that will go a long way to tell you where you remain stuck, why you remain stuck, and ultimately what you can do about it with your belief shifts and with your behavioral changes, okay? So just to recap, I want you getting absorbed in the challenge of overcoming OCD. See this as it's going to get you a long way in your life. I'm so thankful I went for OCD. So thankful. Not thankful for the suffering. The suffering was fucking difficult. Excuse my language. It was very difficult, okay? I don't think I'll go for anything as difficult as that. But the lessons, the tools, the skills in life, the mindsets, the attitude, the perceptions of things, it's taught me so much. And for that, I would not change for the world. So I want you watching this video thinking, wow, I am going to get absorbed by this. No matter what it takes, I'm going to do what it takes to overcome OCD and ultimately recover and live a robust recovery, anxiety and chronic guilt free. You can do that. It will take time. It will take patience. It will take hard work and practice. It will take perseverance. It will take consistency and persistence with the tools over and over again. Welcoming the setbacks. Bring them on. Setback, come on in. What can I learn from this? Relapse, come on in. What can I learn from this? Trigger, yeah, okay, where am I going wrong here? Why did that trigger me? Okay, what can I learn from that? Okay, get absorbed by the challenge of OCD recovery. You can do this. My name's Sam. I've got the coaches, so you've got Rob, you've got Nick, you've got Momin, and you've got Gemma. If you're interested in one-to-one sessions, you're needing help finding that guidance of help overcoming OCD, and if you've been stuck for many years in the severity and not getting any better, please email phil@ocdrecovery.com and you can get in touch with me or one of the other coaches here. Anyway, you take care and we'll speak again. Bye-bye.